Hi everyone, how are you today? I hope you are doing well. Welcome to You Still Matter, a show about seniors and those who love them. I have a very special person here on today. Her name is Danita Lynne. Danita Lynne, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I am so glad that we were able to connect. I know that I remember in one of our ministry classes, caregiving, as I know that you were the caregiver for both your mother and father, right? And so
Right.
we're going to talk a little bit about that, okay?
Yes.
And you can just start wherever you would like to begin in your journey.
Well, I guess it started with COVID. My parents were 86 and 85, dad and mom respectively, when COVID hit because my mother had just turned 85 February 18th and then COVID shut down the world the month later. So I immediately kind of inherited or took on the caregiver role because I was trying to keep them safe by not having them out and about doing their own shopping and all the things that came with that. You know, my dad would still be going to the store, and I'm like, no, you can't go to the store anymore. It's not safe. And I just, convinced him finally to stay home because he wasn't wearing a mask or anything like that and wasn't standing back, none of this stuff. He was like, whatever. So I took on that responsibility and therefore just went from taking care of my son and myself. My son was 9 at the time. And as a single mom, doing that was enough, but then it became going over to their house or taking him over to their house so he could stay there with them and wouldn't be home by himself. And then I would do all the shopping and go to like 5 different stores looking for things because you know how stuff was, and then coming home and getting my son and just trying to keep them safe and not going near them, but making sure that they had what they needed. So that turned into the following year when we were still in it. My dad had an accident at the house. He fell, he missed a chair. And when he was trying to sit down, the chair fell over and he was already using a crutch to walk from an accident that had happened when he was in his 70s and he never recovered from that. So he was always using that crutch instead of a cane. So he was somewhat, he was disabled, but he still did a lot of things. But he missed that chair and he fell and went into the hospital to get checked out. And it turned into an ongoing in and out of the hospital for that entire year from April 3rd, 2021 until his coming home in October on hospice from having gone through different facilities that did not care well for him. And so, yeah, that caregiving became me going to the facilities, checking on him, making sure my son was good, going to my mother to make sure she was okay because now she was home by herself for the first time in her life because they had been married for 65 years at that point. So it was, yeah, a huge undertaking all at one time. And that's how it started. And then he passed away in the house in October 21, and I brought her home with me because I didn't want her to be alone.
Mhm.
And I thought it was going to be for a couple of weeks just to make sure she was okay and that I would send her back home so she could have her space and be where she was comfortable. But that didn't happen because they had a flood in the basement of the house, somewhere between me bringing her home and his service. So she ended up staying with me for about 3 years
Now,
until, yeah,
no, I was going to say, I just want to circle back for just a quick moment.
sure.
I recall you saying that you have a son as well.
Yes.
And so I know the kind of the term for that now is are part of the sandwich generation.
Yes.
And when they say the sandwich generation, for those who may not be sure what that is that, someone like Danita herself was taking care of a parent and her child at the same time, which
Right.
had to be, very, very challenging to be
Right.
able to do that.
Yeah.
And wow, God bless you for doing that. And I know that you have a lot to share and with those who even may be going through the same thing as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of us, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So with your mom staying with you, I know you said that you were probably just for a little while, right?
That was the thought
Yeah.
initially. Yeah. But I couldn't send her back to her house with the basement flooded because that meant workers had to come in and mitigate the water damage. And they
Mhm.
basically gutted it down to the bare bones. And she was not going to be comfortable in the house with the workers coming in and out. And I wouldn't have wanted her there in that situation anyway. So
Mhm.
that's why it became 3 years because the project in the basement just turned into that's another ordeal.
Mhm.
It's another ordeal. Like the contractors ghosted us in the middle of the work, so it just wasn't livable. So we couldn't go back there until I
Mhm.
finally just got somebody over there to do like last minute things or just enough to make it livable to go back over there so she could be in her space because she was complaining that I
Mhm.
was keeping her out of her house.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you about that. How did she do initially when she came to stay with you? Because I know oftentimes they are very, very independent
hmm
and can feel that, part of their independence is being taken away. And like you said, she want to go home.
I think initially she was okay with it because
Yeah.
she was under the impression, like I was, that it was just going to be for a little while and that maybe
Mhm.
till the service was over a little bit after, just to check on her,
Mhm.
make sure she was in a good space emotionally and mentally to be by herself in that big old house, but I can't. It wasn't my fault. It's
Mhm.
like you can't go back over. She didn't want to go back over there once that happened, so it
Mhm.
wasn't like I was keeping her away
Mhm.
from it. But as the time progressed and we weren't moving back, because
Mhm.
she did say, "I don't want to be back over there by myself." That meant now, well, I guess that means I have to move there. She was very clear she didn't want to be by herself. I said, well, what does that mean? That means you want me to come? That means I got to uproot my son from our home and come there and be there, where he wasn't. I mean, he was comfortable staying there as a grandson, but living there is a different thing. So,
Mhm. Mhm. So, what are some of the things that you all had an opportunity to enjoy with her during the time that she was with you? I do remember us talking, and you had said something about your son. She had an opportunity to kind of play with your son a little bit. So, talk about
yeah,
that.
my son loved basketball and he has a basketball hamper hoop in his bedroom. And I came upstairs one day and I kept hearing this thumping and no thud. What in the world is going on? And I looked and they are in there playing basketball. He had my mama shooting hoops, 86, 7 years old at that point,
Wow.
shooting hoops with him in the room. I mean, of course, she wasn't running around the room. She was standing still, but she was shooting. And I was like, oh, this is so cute. I love it. So
Wow. So you turned into the cheerleader then, right?
I absolutely did. And the videographer because I had to get footage.
Wow. Oh, how nice. How nice. I'm so sure that he enjoyed that too, right?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. What are some of the what are some of your thoughts as far as if you're talking to other caregivers? What are some of the things you would want them to know, especially if this is their first time or they more than likely will be a caregiver at some time? So, what are some tips or something that you can share?
Well, first of all, I'll use a phrase I coined when I was working in my former profession when I was a sign language interpreter. And I used to hate it when people would make decisions for the deaf people in the office without asking them what they needed.
Mm,
And I said, my phrase was, don't make decisions about people without people. So, being as though I wanted people to respect whoever it was that was being asked to do something or a change in life or whatever the case may be, I say the same thing for caregivers. Involve the person who is receiving the care as much as you possibly can. Now, of course, I know that there are things that you're going to have to decide because you might not have the time to discuss it. It might have to be a split second decision, or you might not have the person might not have the capacity to make a decision that's best for him or her. But when it can be done, do that. And and there's going to be errors in that process. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. You're not going to make all the best decisions, even if you do them together. I remember a time where it was time to vote. And I wanted to allow my mom to, at least since she couldn't fill out the ballot, I was filling out the ballot what she wanted it to have. But when it came time to sign it, I wanted her to be able to sign it. And I'm thinking this is a great chance for her to have autonomy for something she's doing for herself. And I didn't realize that she hadn't written in so long that she no longer really knew how to sign her name. Now, she was dealing with dementia at that time as well. But I didn't realize that she had not remembered how to sign her name. So I remember having to coach her through how to make the letter. I said, no, remember you used to make the loop and you would go up and then come back around. And after we finally got that finished, I felt so bad for making her experience that because I thought I was doing something good for her. And it may have turned out that it was a hurtful experience for her to realize that she didn't know how to sign her name anymore. So, I'm saying involve them, but also don't be hard on yourself if it turns out differently. Like I couldn't beat myself up about that. I just said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that it wasn't something that was as easy for you anymore, and I told her I wouldn't have her do that again if she wanted me to sign her name from that point forward because I had POA, power of attorney, that I would do that from that point forward. So,
mm. But like you said, you didn't know, and
right.
you didn't
There
know
was
how
no way to
long
know
it was
that,
going.
right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Now I do remember us talking prior, and I would love for you to share this story about your mom, how she was absolutely a fashionista and a diva, right?
Yes.
And so, just share a little bit about what you had shared with me about when on windy days when you all would go out sometimes.
Oh, right. I'm
Yeah, I
like,
love
what story could I? It could be so many.
that.
So, mommy liked to wear church hats. And when I say church hats, I mean church hats. Like the whole. wide brim, feather, all of the things. So as she got older and her balance was an issue,
Mhm.
I had to talk her down out of her high heels, as well as talk her out of wearing these big old hats. Because if it was windy outside, I know her. I remember her well, always holding on to her hat. And I'm thinking, if she holds the hat, that means she's not holding the rail. And the church where she attended a set of stairs to come out of it, like there was no way around it. And they were metal stairs at that. So I'm just like, no, 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 no. I had the whole visualization. Like maybe it's because I overthink, but I also imagined her letting go of the rail really quickly to grab her hat in the wind and then losing her balance, and then it's the whole thing. So I had to talk her into allowing me to like give her a cute little head wrap instead because she likes something on her hair. So she would do a head wrap if it was a windy day. And if it was a little mild out, then I say, now you can wear your hat today. This is the hat day. So we would pick it out in advance, look at the weather in advance and make sure that we had all of her items out to wear to church so that she could get dressed on her own because I wanted her to be able to do that and not feel like she needed me to assist her with that. So that was like a Saturday evening ritual is picking out everything that went with her outfit. Shoes, stockings, shoes, stockings, hats, accessories, even the perfume, because she was gonna have on her perfume too.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And you said she was well, into her 80s still, too,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. She was
Yeah.
88 by that, 88, 89. Hmm.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So that's where you get your fashion and diva-ness. I probably making up a new word, right?
Look, I'm still aspiring to be as good at it as she was, because
Uh,
I'm telling you, people joke with me all the time. I'll show them a picture of her and a picture of me
mhm.
wearing what she used to wear, like a coat that was hers, and I'll say, "Who wore it better?" And they're like, "Your mama." I say, "I know, I know. I just had to ask just to see if I was getting any better."
Wow. Wow. Absolutely amazing. And I remember when I first heard you sharing a little bit about your mom and how you had to care for her, and you being the only child too, right?
Yes. Hmm.
And talk a little bit about too your son, because I'm sure that was, a change for him as well,
Oh yeah.
with his grandma coming to live, with him, and because he was younger, right?
Yes, he was when she first moved here, he was 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And he so from 10 to 14,
Mm-hmm.
he lived we shared the same space. And sometimes he would have to step in, not have to, but I would ask him to step in for me. He enjoyed cooking. He's been cooking since he was about 9. I showed him how to cook because I wanted him to be able to make himself a grilled cheese sandwich, and he took off with it. He's loved to cook ever since then. And he would be at home and I wasn't there yet, and I would call him and say, "Do me a favor. Can you cook this? I have it out. It's ready, but I need you to either put it in the microwave or cook it for her or whatever." And he would do that for me and make sure that she had what she needed and call her and tell her her dinner was ready or breakfast or whatever the case may be, because I was homeschooling him as well. So he
Mm-hmm.
would be home a lot of the time. Then sometimes it was, neither one of them knew who was watching who. It got to the point it was like she's like, "Am I watching him or is he watching me?" He felt the same way. So, God bless him. Lord have mercy. He just saved me in so many ways. But
Mm, yeah.
grateful for that. And you know, it's hard. You know, he was a young man growing up in a house with two women. And as my mom began to not pay attention to how she was, how private she was anymore,
Mhm.
I'll say that way. He was like, Mommy, I saw Nana. And I'm like, yeah, I know, baby. It's just skin. You'll be okay. But
Wow.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
how it was.
I'm sure that that was good for him because he was able to, be in the home too with his grandmother. Nowadays especially, we grow up so independently and individually, if you will.
Mhm.
Back in the day, there was nothing to have, your mom and your grandma, sometimes your great grandma, right?
Right,
In the
right.
same house. So I'm sure he'll remember that
Oh, yes,
as well.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So if there was one thing that you could think of that you feel would have made your caregiving um, a little less challenging, if you will. Maybe, I don't know, cooperation or just whatever you can think of. Would you share that to those who may be receiving care, right?
sure, sure.
And yeah, yeah, if you would do that, that'd be great.
My mother was the baby girl of her family. There
Mhm,
were nine other siblings, and I am the only child. So that energy in the same space
mhm,
was a challenge because although I am her daughter, I needed her to respect me as a grown woman.
mhm,
And I would encourage the people receiving care to to allow especially if it's your child taking care of you,
mhm,
let your child still be an adult. Try your best to not pull the I'm your mama, I'm your daddy card
mhm,
too often because it's a huge sacrifice for um, a child to take care of the mom or dad. And I'm not saying it like it's a negative. Some people believe that it's what you should do, it's your reasonable service.
mhm,
I happen to not think that. I think it should be a choice and not an obligation.
mhm,
But especially when things aren't necessarily set up for it to be optimal
mhm,
financially or in the space, it's if you had that mindset and you've been building towards that and talking about it and you have a place where you're going to live and you have enough room for everybody, that's different. But when you have to share space like we did, it would have been so much easier if my mother would have respected spaces that I felt like this is my space. I would appreciate you not going through things
mhm,
because she felt like she was my mom and she had the right to do it.
mhm,
So, please, just respect that. And I know this is a pivot because my dad was completely different. First of all, he wasn't mobile. He wasn't walking around when I was taking care of him. So that was a different thing. But my dad was very much still caring for me emotionally through the process. And maybe because he was a dad, I don't know. But as a daddy's girl, I remember him doing everything he could to make me feel more comfortable doing things that I didn't necessarily want to have to do for him. Things that I felt like were inappropriate as his daughter to have to do, but because there was no one else to do it, I had to do those things. And he used to just encourage me and talk to me and tell me, "You're doing a good job. Don't worry about it. It's okay." You're you're the best nurse ever. Like A1 in my book. He just cheered me on. And that was what gave me the heart to be able to, not heart like I didn't, like I was being mean, but I mean like gave me the stamina, the chutzpah. I don't know another word, but that kind of energy to like power through the hard things of having to take care of my dad's intimate parts because he just made it, he made me feel like it was okay and I was doing what I needed to do. And that was oh so helpful. I can't explain how what that did for me. So I hope that answers your question. I kind of went both ways with that, with both my mom and my dad. And I think it got a little bit easier as my mother started to, well, as she actually lived somewhere else at the last 8 months of her life, she lived in an assisted living facility. So it allowed us to get back to that sweet mother-daughter relationship kind of thing that had kind of dwindled. But she was then, like looking forward to seeing me again. And so what she did for me was she was able to show me that we can be friends. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be caregiver, care recipient. We could still be friends through that process. And
Mhm.
that was a lovely experience to come back to.
Wow, that is wonderful. Had a little technical snag there for a second, but we're
Oh, are we
back.
okay?
Yeah, we're okay now. And
Okay.
listen, I know your heart and your passion for caring for both of your parents and all the experience that you gained from having to care for both of them. And I know that it's now become part of your life's mission and your life's
Absolutely.
work. And I know that you are, since you are so passionate and you want to serve and help other caregivers, I know that you are having an event. You're having a master class coming up on this coming Saturday, which is going to be March 8th.
No, it's actually
Oh,
Tuesday. It's Tuesday, March
oh,
10th.
Tuesday, March 10th. Thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
that. And what I'm going to do, I'm sure you guys, whoever is really, really going through this, and Danita Lynne can certainly give you firsthand knowledge about how to help you to be the best caregiver. And I know a lot of what you're going to talk about, Danita, is caring for yourself as well as a key, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, guys, I will have all of her information below in case you guys want to certainly support her by leaning into her experience and her knowledge and her advice. And so we're going to have all of her information down below, okay?
And
And
it's not really supporting me, it's actually supporting you.
yeah, exactly. It's supporting yourself.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah, because I remember you saying that, being the best caregiver is giving care to yourself first,
Right.
right? And making sure that you're providing that care. It's just like when you're on the airplane
Hmm.
and they say, make sure if the oxygen mask, if it drops, put it on yourself first and then put it on someone else. And so
Absolutely.
I know you're going to be sharing those tips. And thank you for what you do. Thank you for sharing from your heart about both of your parents.
Yes. And look, I have to share them. They're behind
Yeah.
me. Wait, this
Oh,
way.
yes. Oh my gosh, look how nice. Oh, they are beautiful. Yes. Yes. So they're,
Yes, I had to sit here just for this interview because I wanted to make sure, since we were talking about them,
yeah.
that they're supporting me in this process. I don't have
Oh,
any ill feelings, any.
Yes,
All love, and it's such a beautiful place to be in, to be able to look back on my caregiving journey
yeah,
and look at the lessons and smile about it all. Like I don't have
yeah,
any regrets. No, and
yeah.
I just want to help people not have those regrets that some people do look back on it
Hmm.
like they wish.
Sure.
Yeah, so it doesn't
That
have to
is
be that way.
that is so beautiful. Thank you again so much for sharing. And you all, as I do each time, I want to take a moment to share some of our messages, and we thank you. I'm always grateful, you know that, for when you send us messages. Either you post them or you send them via email. And so I do want to share a few of them. This one is from at Carol Johnson. Very interesting. Wish I had this teaching when I was a child. Thank you. God is good.
Mm.
Mr. Calhoun is great. Okay. And of course, that was regarding Dwight Calhoun. We had him on. Then here's one, an email. It says, Donna, thanks for sharing Dwight's information. I will certainly be purchasing his products for my grandchildren. And this comes from Desi Campbell. Desi, thank you for sending that. Here's one. It says, hello, Donna. Thanks for your show. I truly enjoy learning about the Black history representative, Dwight Calhoun. I will be sharing his information with my grandchildren's school. I will
Mm.
encourage the principal to purchase his products. He really makes learning fun. And this comes from Dr. John Evanston. Thank you all so much for sharing. And yes, this was an interview. We actually profiled him for Black History Month a couple of weeks ago. So if you didn't have an opportunity to take a look at that, then we certainly invited to do that. Again, Danita Lynne, thank you so much for joining. And everyone, please make sure that you hit the bell, you subscribe, you give it a thumbs up, and you certainly share. We've had some people say that they've shared it with their senior clubs and organizations. But of course, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, we are on the first and third Thursdays of each month. And so we're so glad that you are joining us. And listen, no matter who you are, no matter your age, always remember that you still matter. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. Take care. We'll see you next time, and God bless. Bye for now.